Welcome to Nerdy 4, the podcast where I, Amy Brown, ask very interesting people what they're nerdy for.
Ooh, that's me.
That's you. You're my.
Interesting.
You are my
I'm a person of interest.
You are a person. Oh, that sounds aggressive. Please welcome to my costume chamber, Gilbert Lawand.
That's good. Yeah. Hey, how are you, everyone? Good to be here.
Yay. So, Gilbert, I forgot to ask you what you do besides stand-up comedy. I know you do stand-up comedy because you're on my show at the Distillery for Modern Art, Top Shelf Comedy, once a Sunday in Chambly. You did a great job. There's my plug.
Thank you.
But what else do you do besides stand-up comedy?
I also do accounting. I am a freelance accountant.
That's hot.
I used to...
It's my account.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, really?
Yeah, people like some of my accounting services because I'm different than other ones where I am what you might call unethical. No, I'm kidding. I'm like, let's start with the answer and we can work backwards to what we started with.
Oh.
He's like, it's only tax fraud if you get caught.
Yeah. It's like I'm a tax accountant or accountant for the mob. Except not really, just for comedians. Yeah, which is like even more difficult. Right?
Than mob. We have people work in different states and they have to get W-9s.
They do. 1099s from different states.
How many W-9s do you have? Is that a personal question?
Oh, I probably, let's see, this past year, last year I didn't have many. This year I'll have like 15, 12 maybe.
Oh my God, look at you.
I know.
You're traveling a lot.
Getting hundreds of dollars in many multiple states.
Is that what you're getting paid?
Well, some. I do. I've toured a little bit more this year than normal. I did a lot of tours with Rory Scovel and then did some with James Adomian and then did some of my own traveling for comedy to places that didn't know comedy was happening sometimes. So it's just really fun.
Shout out a busy bar where we pull out a mic stand. We're like, we're going to have stand-up comedy now. Like, hide your children and turn off the football.
Yeah, we're not going to turn off the TV.
Yeah. Even worse when they don't know comedy's coming and then you are truly the bad guy where you're like, will you guys be quiet? I know you've been trying to get together as friends since high school for dinner and you didn't know this is going to happen, but somehow this is... not my fault, but
I did an out-of-town show once on Super Bowl Sunday, and somebody was just like, "How did you not know?" I was like, "I don't fucking follow sports." But also,
I don't know your life.
The booker that's more on the booker, and they're like, "Yeah, I was surprised you want to do on Super Bowl Sunday." It's like, you should have said that.
Yeah, it's all on the booker. I mean, it does just because it's Super Bowl Sunday doesn't mean everything stops. There could be a show where people that aren't watching the game.
Yeah, because we were doing like a little small road one, but I was just like, I would have been fine just to take the night off. But instead, like, they wouldn't turn off the TVs for us. They were like, you can still do the show, but we're not turning off the TVs. Like, people are here to watch that game.
There'll be a riot.
Yeah, so I was just like, all right.
You can't do your one-man show in our dirty bar.
I know.
Keep your theater out of our bar.
Keep your artistic endeavors somewhere else.
Oh, yeah. I've seen a comedian yell at the audience like, I traveled 3 hours to be here. This is my dream. It kind of worked, though. People got quiet.
Yeah, you have to do something. You gotta walk out of there with dignity. You can't just be like, okay, well... How about this third down play? You guys still watching, listening?
I know you like to poke the bear when you're doing a set. You like to tease the audience a little bit.
That's some of my favorite type of comedy. Is like.
Do you have a good story about that?
Oh yeah, I do. I have quite a few stories about that, but like sometimes I like to. I have too many outs on my jokes, which I found where I'm like, if the joke doesn't work, I'll have a funny line about it. And then I find myself having too many of those. I'm like, maybe I should write jokes at work so I don't have to so many of those. But I had one where I was poking the audience and it did not go well at all. It's still today my biggest bomb, and it was wish it would have been recorded. It was in Birmingham at the Stardome.
Oh, really, that sounds big. Is it big?
It's big, but it's really exaggeratedly complimentary name for it. It's not
where people play basketball.
No,
okay,
it's where they.
It sounds domey.
It's where they have two item minimum and then somebody on stage in that order of importance. I went out there and the host was like doing real well, but not something even close to what I was doing. I was like, oh, this is not going to go well. And I walked out and I was doing this Southern character right out of the gate. And I realized later that it seemed like I was probably making fun of them, and I wasn't. So I could never get them back. And it was a 20-minute set, and it was for this booking agency where you had to do the 20 minutes, otherwise it would have been like gone. And
you just had to eat it for 20
minutes, yeah.
And they hate you.
And at the end, I was like,
that's rough.
At the end, I was like, okay, well, I know you're gonna like this next one because it's my last joke, and everybody applauded. They might as well have done a standing.
Right in your face.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's soul crushing.
Oh man, it was awful. So the whole time I was poking fun at them, and they were like, "No, we don't like you." It was. I mean, it was like
how long in comedy were you at?
that's the funny thing. It was pretty far into
week?
it. Yeah, it was like it was probably 7 or 8 years ago, which means it was probably 7 years into it or something. Long enough to where that's the part I was upset about. I was like, I don't need to get every audience. Every audience doesn't need to be like my demographic or whatever, but I should be capable enough to not like have a train wreck like this. Like, you know what I mean? That's what I was upset about. Not that I like would ever want to be these type of people's like main, interests, but I should be capable enough to not have to get off stage and the manager to be like, okay, you can go out this way. like with
they're going to beat you up.
Here's the back door.
But I think, can you tell everybody like your background? Because I think that's might be part of why they should beat you up.
Yeah, that's probably true.
In Alabama?
Well, yeah. It's so I was born in Baghdad, Iraq, to Catholic parents, but I grew up in South Middle Georgia in a town called Warm Springs, Georgia, a town of 500 people where I grew up on a farm. And every time I say that out loud, I think, is that really what happened? Because that's really strange. So that's like, so I have, I can put on a really strong Southern accent. So I guess to them, it looked like, it's a good point. Even more so because this brown guy walks out, starts talking like a redneck, and they're like, wow, this foreign guy's like just making fun of us. And I'm like, no, I'm sort of like one of you.
This is your culture.
Yeah.
We have friends of all different nationalities, like originally who grew up in rural Georgia. And
So it wasn't like, it's just to them, it was like just put on. But I was like, spend the next 20 minutes trying to convince them that no, I'm sort of.
You have to like make a hush puppy in front of them. Like, I know what I'm doing. I'm from here.
I love fried mayonnaise too, y'all. I mean, come on.
Fried mayonnaise.
It was awful. And it was the height of it was like somebody said something, and when somebody says something to you and you like kind of freeze up, and then you're like on the way home, you're like, oh man, I should have said this. Well, this happened, but I thought what I think is the most exact perfect reply was, so during my set, so it was like papered room. It was like a Wednesday night, so it was all free, and it was like some rednecks and black people, and like they were all like people that were just talking like whatever. But like halfway during my set, this older black lady said something, and I didn't hear what she said, and I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. What'd you say, ma'am? I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said." She goes, "Oh, we're just all simple old country folk here," and then I said, "Oh, I don't think I've said anything vulgar or cursed or anything." And then right after I said that, everybody in the room, I felt collectively thought, "Oh, what she meant was we're just good old-fashioned country folk here, not like where you're from kind of thing." Oh. So we all kind of realized it. And then I said, "Oh, wow, how quickly you turn the hoses on us."
Oh.
Exactly, Joel. I think that's the funniest comment. I was like basically saying, why are you're being racist toward me when everybody's racist? Like, you're in a position where you should know how bad that feels. And then everybody was just like, oh. Their reaction to every joke was, and I was like, okay. That's when I realized I'd probably need to get out of here as soon as at minute 21.
A minute, yeah.
Yeah. So poking at him now, I just poke at him when it's when it's not survival mode. When it's more
when
happy.
Everyone's on the same page already.
Yeah.
You gotta get them on your side. I've had a set where I think I came off accidentally anti-gay, which is not
not you at all.
I know, right? Not at all. And I could never get anyone back on my side after that.
Yes.
And I don't blame them, but that's not what I was saying. I think they misheard me or something.
Yeah. It's so hard to like. It depends on how much time you have in the set to like get them back, and then sometimes trying to get them back or trying to convince them what they're thinking is not the right thing works against you because you're just going, no, it's swear.
Because then they're like, of course the bigot
would
says
say that.
this.
Yeah. Of course you realize we don't like that, so now you're trying everything in your power.
We're backtracking.
I like the bit where you're like, praise Allah. Like, how do you say that? Can you do
praise
it?
Allah? Praise Alan?
Praise Alan.
Praise Allah, man. I like just.
Don't you Sorry to interrupt, but don't you have like a farmer's dating app profile?
Yeah. I did. They kicked me off. Farmers only.
Farmers only.
Yeah, they're like, this man doesn't farm.
But I have a picture of me with like in a turban, and it's, my username is Sandstorm, and it says I'm farming hatred toward the West, and it's really funny. And I had like 2 likes, and then they finally were like, "You don't seem like you're a farmer. You're out of here."
Do you feel okay? This is probably not funny, but I'm just curious because America is a melting pot, and there's nothing more America than having someone from a different culture come and farm here. That's what we've been doing for a very long time.
That's true.
What's your relationship with growing up in the South?
Oh, it's very mixed. It's like I love it overall. I think the South has a lot of things that are really messed up about it, and it continues to be. But also, I think maybe part of the reason why so much great art comes out of the South, so much great music, so many great comedians. Like, I think a higher percentage of great art has come from the South, and I think that's part of it. It's cool to be like. I think what it does is you can be ashamed of some of the bad stuff and the history, but you can be proud of what is going on otherwise. That's why I love Atlanta so much. Atlanta's like this, the closest thing I think, it's got problems obviously, but I think it's the closest thing I can tell of a truly post-racial society that where people are still living in different areas, but it's more of a melting pot than other cities, and in the sense that comedy shows or concerts or bars or events have a we see with our with comedy there is a group that's represented in most of mainstream comedy here, and so my relationship with South is it's mixed, but overall I think it's cool. It makes the Atlanta, for example, makes the rest of Georgia, the rest of Georgia and other small towns all over the country, not just Georgia or the South, that are still backwards, that are still, hanging on to these antiquated, weird racial and, homophobic beliefs, makes being here even more special and cool, because you're oh, we're still in the South, and look at Atlanta, it's got one of the highest gay populations, one of the highest black populations, and minorities, and so overall I like it. It's just it's most cities are like this, where they're progressive and blue and whatever, and then you go out of the city, it's you leave Portland, you might as well be in South Georgia or something. But in Atlanta it's even closer. You leave the perimeter and you're oh, there, stop the steal, and whatever Brandon's thing is, I don't know. So it's like a extreme example of
Oh yeah, I love Pride in Atlanta. We have one of the best Pride.
It's a great one.
It's my favorite time to be in Atlanta.
Oh, it's great. I used to live on right when I started comedy, before I decided to give up making money and having roommates for the rest of my life. When I was a consultant, I lived.
Were you a fancy consultant?
Yeah, I was.
Ernst & Young?
I worked at Ernst & Young 2 different times.
Oh, I called it.
You did? How'd you do that?
I have a degree in economics.
Yeah. I worked for them right out of...
Rich people can smell their own.
Yeah. She smelled the big 4 on me.
Yeah, the big 4.
Did
you do sexy accounting?
I did sexy accounting. At first, what I didn't. Right out of undergrad, I did auditing, which is not sexy accounting, but it's pretty fun because everybody's terrified to see you. And then... and then I worked for private equity, and then I went to grad.
You're not getting as many kisses though. I bet.
No, you're not. Unless I'm hey, I'll erase that number for you. And then I worked for a couple of consulting firms, and I went to grad school, and then I worked for Ernst & Young again in mergers and acquisitions, and that was a sexy one.
Mergers and acquisitions. Yeah. That's raping and pillaging.
Murders and executions.
Executions. Yikes.
That's from American Psycho. But yeah, so I worked. I would travel every Monday, and then back every Thursday. It was that kind of fancy consulting job. But then
first class.
Oh yeah, it was great. It was my expense account was ridiculous, and
so
was my drug problem. That's why I didn't save any money.
Were you
Thursday night? It was on the way back. I'm let's do it, and then until Sunday. But the point is, I lived in Metropolis, which is on the corner of P Street and 7th.
Yes, I'm familiar.
Gay Pride was so fun. It would go right across my right across my porch. I would go down there and hang out. It was like, they're the funnest people to hang out with. They're superior beings to
it's so fun.
the rest of the world.
People come from all over to go to our ride too.
They do.
We got to keep the rainbow crosswalks.
I know. It is great. It's like
keep the rainbow crosswalks, but don't do anything more than that. Just paint the roads, but let's not do real equality.
Yeah, let's do more symbolism. Which is what we're great at.
That's what's gonna stop.
Yeah, it is. It's like Progressive Auto Insurance is. I like to acknowledge our gay partners, and then that's about it.
Oh,
not really
I watched the parade. The Delta people.
Oh, really?
It was a lot. Shocker. There's a lot of.
They go out of their way for the.
It was wonderful.
For the visual.
It made me proud to be Diamond. See how I worked that in?
That's good job. It's not even written down right here. I'm looking at it. It doesn't say callback.
I just got it on Saturday.
You did?
It's my first time. Have you ever been, Mr.?
I have been.
Yes.
It's been a while. It was back when I traveled like that. But
was it long ago enough that you got blowjobs and stuff? Like, what was going on?
It wasn't that long ago. Yeah, it is harder.
I don't know what I get.
Coach.
It's harder in coach. I don't even know what I'm supposed to get.
You should get whatever you want. Make sure you make a big deal about everything.
Okay.
Find out what they have and then ask for something they don't have. That's what.
Oh, can we do a role play for this?
Yeah, we can.
Like, ask me. Okay. Do you have any bourbon?
No, actually, I'm sorry. It's the only thing we don't have.
Oh, but I really could go for some Pappy Van Winkle. It's only $1,000 a bottle.
We're actually going to refuel in about 500 miles in air, and I'm going to have them bring it right over to you. The people in the back don't even know it's happening.
I'm having a medical emergency because I can't have Pappy Van Winkle right now. You need to pull this plane over right now.
Well, we'll pull it over, but just to let you know, I'm also having a medical emergency at how beautiful you are.
You're so good at customer service.
Thank you.
You'd make a great flight attendant.
There's actually no sexual harassment in first class.
It's not. There's only very extreme compliments is what they're called.
So they give you little, I don't have these, I've heard about it. They give you cards to hand out to employees of Delta who you think have gone above and beyond.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They give you a certain number?
It's like a card, and you're like, this person gets this card, and then they get to show their management. One? I don't know how many people get, but we were on a plane that had a medical emergency, and the Delta employees were just amazing, and we like pull the plane over, and everyone, I saw the people who had the cards were handing them to the and it was really beautiful, and it was a Delta flight, so there were actual medical professionals on the flight. So there was two doctors and a nurse. Yeah,
really? Are they?
The lady was okay. No, it was those are just
but those are successful people that weren't flying Frontier.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's someone else's joke, but I was noticing it play out in front of me.
They pulled it over like they landed somewhere else?
They landed on the way. Yeah, we landed in a different city. But the person was okay. They just have a history of fainting and then not having a pulse.
And not having a pulse?
Not having a pulse.
Oh, wow. That's a bad history.
That's a bad history.
What do you mean history of not having a pulse?
Yeah. I guess that's a syndrome.
I think that just means you die every once in a while.
Yeah, I guess so.
Right? Like, you know how fish like some plants can get frozen and then they thaw out and they're okay?
Yeah, like a
reptiles.
wood frog.
Like a wood frog.
Okay.
This lady was a wood frog.
Wood frog
is a little dead.
It's insane. It just freezes everything. And then it's like solid. And then it like comes back. It's like, hey, what's up, Art?
Is that what happens when people drink too much and they pass? They have like a little time warp.
They have a little mini death.
Yeah. Did you get gout when you were on a consultant with too much?
No, do people get gout?
Did you get gout?
I
too
know,
much steak. You have to like.
Too much steak?
Yeah. Did you have to entertain the clients and stuff?
Yeah,
and
I never got gout though, but I could see how that might work.
I know some comics that got gout.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. I know several.
That's what I was saying. I feel like you're more prone to getting gout as a comedian, a road comic.
But it's red meat. It's amino acids in your toe.
It's a lot of people where
burgers, I guess.
Yeah, it's like your fast food. You're eating a lot of fatty, rich stuff. I know like 3 comics that had gout.
Yeah, I think I know 3. We probably know the same one.
Yeah.
You probably know the same one.
I'm not going to try to call out our friends.
Kinane is one.
Oh,
he
really?
talks about it. So.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And a couple others. But yeah, I think that you're right. I think we're both right because I think what happens with comedians that get it, it's like a longer term dissension into, bad health.
Whereas liver cirrhosis.
Yeah. But with like consultants, like they do, they probably do have that, but like it's a more intense because you have to like either go one way or the other when you're doing that. You have to be like, I'm a salad guy because I cannot do this all the time. or you'd be like me and just like eat whatever.
I was going to ask you about your health.
I used to, but back then I was in good shape, so it didn't matter. I was like, working out in the mornings for work.
Where did you go to college?
I went to Georgia undergrad, and I went to Emory MBA.
Yeah. Do you have a whole MBA, or did you just do like the accounting one?
I did the MBA.
Oh,
yeah.
Fancy.
I basically proved that you cannot fail out of MBA school.
Oh, good
which
for you.
is not even an exaggeration. Like they don't have grades, and you can fail out if you're like not doing well in classes and you don't have a job lined up. If you have a job lined up, they truly do not give a shit, like at all. Like it's not. I'm sure they love hearing if they hear this, but
is it more of a networking experience?
It is, but they care more about like your next job, like your next career thing. So if you after your first year you try to get a internship in the summer that might lead to the job, and then I was able to do that.
Did they teach you stuff? They teach you like how maybe I don't know to stop making bubbles.
How to make bubbles?
Yeah, like.
The
tech bubble.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the housing bubble. What's our latest bubble?
What is the latest?
I think we're
housing market.
Housing.
The interest rates are crazy.
Yeah. There's going to be probably another.
What do you think the next bubble is going to be?
I don't know. Probably tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, we're in late stage capitalism right now, so it's just going to keep getting worse.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like there's it'd be another housing bubble at some point. I mean,
do you think housing prices are inflated?
I think they are. I mean,
I think there's a false sense of inflation during the pandemic when you couldn't buy things out of the country, and so it drove up the prices of houses in the United States. But now that the borders are more open,
yeah, there's also a lot of outside investment in the market that's like speculative. So,
okay,
you're like, how is there so many not so many such a glut and or shortage of places to live in Atlanta, and then you're like, oh, this half of this building is, owned by, and that's the thing is like real estate in this country is sort of like investment accounts in like the Caribbean or whatever. It's like it's not what do you call it? Secrecy.
Yeah.
Like you can own real estate
offshore
under shell companies, and so it's like people.
They buy it up and they make a false scarcity because they're not developing it.
Yeah, they do. They hold it for because they can, and it's two ways. It'll be like shady people that park money into real estate because it is secretive. They have these shell companies, but also the ancillary secondary benefit.
You got to put your drug money somewhere.
Exactly, you got to put it somewhere, so it's safe there. But it also
embroider that on a pillow.
It has the added effect of creating a shortage and making the real estate artificially go up. So it's like a two-part fun thing for them.
Okay, do you think so? There's some people who are building condos and then they're also buying up a lot of property in Atlanta and not building condos. So there's not too many condos.
I think it's the first thing because I think people are building them that are American companies. I think that's more difficult of an endeavor to be truly offshore, shell company and build. But I think once they know that they're going to be sold to those other people. It's not all of it, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there's a bubble coming, but it seems like
no hot takes.
No hot takes on it. I should have some hot takes on it, but I don't.
That's fine. You're fine. You're beautiful. You're a beautiful man. Well, let's talk about. I'm sorry, I keep going back to your glory days of whining and dining people.
Yeah.
And so now, are you still eating poorly? Do you take statins or anything?
I do both of those things.
Did you have any response to the statins?
Yeah, I mean, it helped my cholesterol some. I need to take it.
Does it make your joints ache?
No.
That's good.
Is that what makes it?
Some people.
Maybe.
Uh-oh. Did I reveal something?
No, I think it's. Is that? I didn't even know that was a. Side effect, but yeah, I've been taking that. I've been eating. I go back and forth with eating poorly and not eating poorly.
You travel with some famous comedians.
I do sometimes.
Yeah, you perform with them. Do they eat well?
Yes. Well, the ones I don't think all of them do, but I mentioned Rory earlier.
Rory Scovel.
Rory Scovel. He's always in the middle of self-improvement, and it's very inspirational, and it rubs off on me for a little bit until a little bit after. Like right now, he's not eating meat, he's not eating sugar, he's not eating caffeine, not taking any caffeine, and it's he preaches it to me. He's for example, the no meat thing just makes him feel so much better. The no sugar thing is he's you will sleep like a log,
mm-hmm.
it affects your energy. Like at first it affects your energy in a detrimental way because you're not used to not having sugar. But yeah, so that makes it a lot easier when somebody's like that.
They say that the people you hang out with are the habits you'll get. So if you hang out with the healthy people, you get healthy habits.
That's true. And I need to just make a conscious effort to stay eating healthy because I don't know if I could probably be a vegetarian if I really put my mind to it, but I could be, pescatarian when you eat fish. Mm-hmm. See, I could definitely do that. I did that a lot when I was traveling with work.
But is it like a grilled fish or is it a fried fish?
Well, that depends. Like it's
because that has the saturated fat.
No, that's not good for you. But like if I have the option, if I had like some kind of whitefish that's baked or that doesn't have to be deep fried, then I can live on that. Like
we get it. You like to eat pussy.
Yeah, I love it. They hate it, but I love it.
Advertisement. Okay.
I do. Who's been talking?
I'm constantly.
All right, I haven't asked you yet. Gilbert, what are you nerdy for?
What am I nerdy for? This is right up your alley.
Oh, let's go.
What your husband is an expert in.
Okay. I don't hope I have answers for you.
And no one has
eating
answers.
Pussy.
Yeah, eating pussy. Yeah, I'm glad. Good segue. It says on our piece of paper, it says eating pussy. Now, Gilbert, what are you obsessed with? No, I'm obsessed with like that. Her husband, as you probably heard in other episodes, is like a quantum physicist and working on quantum computing at Georgia Tech, I think.
Yeah.
And, that world is like, I'm obsessed with it. It's like when I'm like watching something, if I will pick stuff on like on quantum physics and time and whatever over like regular movies and shows. That I just the fun thing about it is like first it's just mind blowing all of it, but also it's like you don't have to be a genius like your husband to get all of the mystery and in the sense of awe of all of the things they're doing and all the mysteries. Like in other words, I can like look at watch something on quantum like entanglement, which is this thing, and like not. I have to do the math. I just assume math's correct. Like, so I'm not smart enough to know this stuff, but it doesn't preclude enjoying it and like being amazed by it.
They do a lot with graphics and stuff to explain.
They do. I mean, if they would have had that when I was growing up, I probably would have tried to go into science because it's like it really
brings it to life.
And brings it to like the forefront of like you can have any kind of your place in it can be anywhere, and because when you watch the interviews with physicists, they're just so excited and happy. They're like it's like I mean
they're discovering new stuff.
They're just like, oh my god, yeah, I'm glad you asked
that?
Me about that. And they're like, it's like they have a childlike curiosity that goes away. For most people, like
everyone turns into ghost hunters. That's what we do. If you're not going to be a physicist and discover.
Oh my god, those drive me crazy. They're just like, once again, we didn't actually find anything.
Oh, I watched these two ladies this morning, and they're like communicating because they're both witches.
Yeah, with a. I love when they have like a contraption that's for that, and they're like, well, look, it's beeping, it's doing this thing. It's like, okay, what is it? What is this recorder that's telling you that? Like,
right.
Where did you get that?
A guy in the corner, like, red drum, and that's what it's like is communicating.
But some of the stuff that like they like will tell you these statistics that are just like enough to blow your mind, like
how small we are in the universe,
or how small we are,
that's
how long,
a great one,
deep time, or like even going like when we go outside today, like and you have the sun shining on your face, that warmth of the photons coming from the sun. It takes 8 minutes for the photon to leave the sun to get to your face, but before that, it's created in the core of the sun through fusion of like hydrogen fusing together, becoming helium, and then a bunch of energy pops out in the form of a photon. That photon is emitted in the middle of the sun, which is gigantic, and then it's like sucked in by another reaction and bounces out like basically like a pinball. And it takes 80,000 years for it to get to the outside of the sun, and then that 8 minutes to get to your face. So when you feel that warmth, when you feel that warmth, you're like, wow, that was the end of a long, unbelievably 80,000 years before we were, even anywhere close to modern human beings. Its journey took forever. So when it hit your face, you're like, wow, that was...
We're like even smaller than dog years, our little lifespans.
Oh, it's so tiny.
It's wild.
There's a thing where you like it's almost impossible to comprehend those numbers. So they have different ways of putting them on different scales. Like they say, like for like the age of like the universe, if you started on 1 year, like a 1 year calendar year, and then we wouldn't show up until December 31st, like 11:56 p.m. And I always like to say it as the worst New Year's Eve guest ever. Showing up, be like, "Hey, what's up, man? What's that oil? I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna snort that, and I'm gonna kill these little seals, and then I'm gonna. Well, whose house is this? Who cares?"
Oh my gosh! Yeah, let's kill all the buffalo almost. Yeah, yeah, we're very destructive. These monkeys.
Somebody was telling me about that. The buffalo, like. Has that been in the news recently?
Well, I think Ken Burns had a new special come out.
Oh, that's right. That's what it was.
And I'm fixing to watch it, but you have to be in the right mood to see all the dead buffalo because they would just kill them for funsies.
Oh man, there was like 60 million of them at one point, and then they got down to like 10,000 or something.
Have you been next to a buffalo?
I don't think so.
They got They're gigantic, and they got a wild eye.
Do they?
They got like a squirrely eye on the sides of their heads.
People keep killing them. They gotta look out.
They gotta look out.
Like something tells me I shouldn't trust this person.
A regular cow has a soft, friendly face.
It does.
And the buffalo looks pretty wild. But I've seen videos where like the buffalo and the man are friends, and the buffalo comes in the house.
Yeah.
And
Like I've seen that too.
Right? It's like a ton buffalo. It's like you don't know how big you are, George. You can't sit on the sofa. You can't sit on the Barca lounge, or you're gonna break it. And it's got the wild eye. So
well, I bet
crazy.
that documentary. I mean, Ken Burns is awesome. Like
he's so good.
But I also have to get in the mood for him because like it's so dense and so well done that. And this is sad to say, but like a lot of times I'm watching something, I'm like doing something on my phone. I'm like, I can't even like take one thing in without
a distraction. We all have ADD now.
Yeah, we do.
Or ADD, whatever one we have to
Wait,
have two things.
What were we talking about?
A squirrel.
I'm just kidding.
I went to the planetarium in Chicago, and they showed us I think the Milky Way is at our galaxy. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, since the Earth has been made, we've only gone a quarter around this big swirly center, and my head exploded. Yeah, this was 15 years ago.
It's like 100 million year.
We haven't even made a circle yet around our galaxy.
I know. Well, it's crazy that nothing is still ever. Like like we're moving at like 6,000 miles per hour right now as the Earth is rotating, but because it's like a standard or rate that we don't feel it, and then we're going like that's our spin, and then we're going around the Earth at like 60,000 or something, and then even like the entire solar system is moving around at an incredible rate. So there's really nothing that's like still, relatively speaking,
Yeah, and then I found out last night at dinner with my family because they were talking about this. You are lighter at the equator and heavier at the at the poles.
Yeah.
What?
And you're lighter at the top of the mountain than at the bottom because you're closer to where the gravity's pulling.
I love the stark difference of this one and our last recording with Derek. Derek was like, "We don't know how bicycles work."
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
You silly boy.
But like, there's a thing like I was talking about. The most mind-blowing thing I think that exists in science is something called quantum entanglement.
Okay, let's do this because I can do a little bit of conversation around quantum things because I sit at my dinner table with my family.
Is this driving you crazy? It's a bad subject because you're
no, not at all. I just know so my husband is a rock climber, and he came back from the climbing gym when we lived in Boulder, and he's like, so the guy who belayed me today said he was a quantum healer.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't want to like call him out on anything, but so I was, I didn't say anything. And then later at the end of the climbing experience, the guy's like, "So what do you do?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm a quantum physicist."
So he knew that he was full of shit.
Well, the guy believes what he's doing. He says, "Yeah, I just read quantum physics books, and I feel if that's like energy for healing," which is.
I bet that drives your husband crazy.
It's just enough information to be dangerous because you can hoodwink some poor girl into getting in your van. I don't know what he's doing with his quote unquote healing.
Instead of like lollipops, you're like, I have a microprocessor.
Yeah, this is like a Reiki experience. But I use my quantum fingers to finger you.
Quantum fingers. They're both in your pussy and your ass at the same time.
At the same time, and your sisters.
Yeah, and also not for the court.
For
Your Honor.
There's a quantum fingering.
this what's his name's cat is both alive and both in
Schrodinger's
jail.
cat.
Yeah. Both in jail and not in jail.
Yeah. The spin was okay. So my husband is one of the projects he worked on. I don't know if he's still doing it because I literally he starts talking and I black out. I don't want to.
I get it though because I googled your husband's white papers, and we did a show here at your house a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And I mentioned like something real random, like the title of it, and I said, and so we know who wrote that, and then I like talked to him afterwards. And he was like, "Where'd you get those papers?" And I go, "You can just Google them." And it's like when I read, like it's one of those things where you read like the first paragraph and you're like, "This could be a totally different language," and I would take in just as much. It's so incredibly complicated.
It's so dense. It's so dense. It's why it takes so long to get a PhD in physics because it's like you're learning a different language.
Yeah.
About science. These words that you feel like if they were independent words, not all put together in a sentence, you'd be fine. But when they put them all together, you're like, what's happening? I went to my husband's dissertation for his thesis. And I thought I was an educated person. Like I took biology in college and whatnot, and I was like, "What's happening?" Halfway through his dissertation, he looked at the panel of experts, like all of like the professors, and he says, "Pay attention now, or else I'm going to lose you."
Wow!
I'm like, what a baller move!
I know. To people that are already smart, you're like, "Look, I'm going to lose you on this."
I think he meant it.
No,
I think
sure.
he's like, this is getting really specific. And I know this other guy, like this guy only does the physics with the stars, and this physics over here only does cold matter, and this one does hot matter. And blah,
I'm
blah,
sure
blah, blah.
because he's like just demonstrating something that's going to get him a PhD. So obviously, by nature, it's going to be something that no one has really done before. So
yeah.
But he works with like this thing.
Okay, yeah. So he's worked on quantum computing. And that's instead of having a computer that's ones and zeros, it's a computer based on the spin of an electron, which can be on or off or a multiple, like infinite number of positions in between on or off, and it's wicked small. So you can make really fast, tiny computers. Yeah,
that have like a huge number, like times multiple of the power of normal computers.
Yes, just completely amazing.
Not even, it's almost like they say like the difference between like a telegraph in our computer and that computer and like a quantum. It's just like not even. It's multiples of factors. Faster and more powerful, which will change everything.
It'll change everything. It's going to be the next crazy. Well, not the next.
No, I think it is going to be.
You think it's next because this is where they're at right now. They're getting ions cold in a cryostat, and they're shooting it with lasers to affect its spin, and then reading that.
Yeah.
I know how you harness that and get like a bunch of them in a row, and then how do you turn that into like programming a computer to do something? Like there's some big steps that need to happen.
It's like that quantum entanglement thing, where quantum entanglement is where two particles are what's called entangled, and they, by definition, you can't really talk about one being separate from the other one. You can separate it like.
You can tickle one like across the universe, and the other one wiggles.
The other one wiggles at exactly that moment. It's faster than the speed of light. Information dissemination to that other one, so they
it's like twins, and how you can you can slap one in the other one's face.
And that's exactly. That's what like. Exactly.
Don't Google it.
What was that? Do that one more time. We can't because now you're not entangled anymore. It's a wave function collapse. But they have, that's how teleportation is going to work, and they do it now. Where this guy Hans Zeilinger in Austria has he won a Nobel Prize a couple years ago because he was able to entangle like 4 or 5 particles and basically move them like the other one, their partner, like a few miles away. And so those are like basically the same thing. So you can't talk about one being separate from the other because whatever you do to one, you do to the other. So if you could get like so in quantum entanglement and like quantum computing, they have all these entangled particles. So when they put it like a cert or some kind of request for a computer to do, they don't just go look at 0 here and then 1 here. They all go in different areas, and they're simultaneously searching every single possible result for that request you made all at once. So it's like multiple, it's a huge factor of of computing power. But what's crazy about it is like if you have two quantum entangled particles, it'll they'll act the same, but they lose this connection by looking at one.
Oh.
Literally, observation of one
changes its spin.
Yeah,
when you observe it, it changes it. So it's very tricky. Yeah,
it is crazy. But they still don't understand why observing.
They're shy.
Yeah, they're shy. They're like, oh, don't look at me. I'm no one. Look at the other guy. So that kind of like is like, so it's when you try to explain it to somebody, like what the little I know about quantum, it sounds like some kind of sci-fi stuff where you're like two particles or separate. I mean, that's what like Schrodinger's cat thing is. It's like they are both here and there at the same time, and the only way to figure out whether to make it pick is to observe it. So like with Schrodinger's cat, they're in a quantum state, which means like it's a cloud of superposition of possibilities, and then when you view it, it collapses into one thing. So when you talk about people that are like,
I had a friend like that.
We talk about people like that, the quantum healer, when he talks about, it's like all these other, they hijack that scientific concept, and they try to push it into some kind of like new age where you're like, nothing is, the whole universe is not even exists until we look at it, so you can change it. It's like, I know it drives people like your husband crazy where you're like, there's a whole fucking bunch of math behind this.
It's not just because you put an Audi on your vision board that you're gonna get that because of quantum physics.
But those people are like my athletes, or like the people, or movie, or like actors, like people look at like, I love great actors and great athletes and musicians too, but these are like my rock stars because they are doing something so amazing and on the forefront.
We should have you over for a dinner party.
You should. I've asked you several.
Sorry.
No, but like they're like on the forefront of like something that's like so shifting of like, and they're also so smart. It's like, it's different than any other thing. I mean, like, I've been fascinated with like the ones that like they started, quantum physics like in like the late 1800s, and even then they were solving things without computers. That was like, do you remember like we went to the moon without a computer, which is it's
we
like.
Did? They didn't have computers? Oh.
We had computers that were
a huge
like,
building. Like it was my grandfather worked on one of the first computers.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, they had like computers that were like basic, where it's like this, times this, but they didn't have like.
Oh yeah, like the fancy ones.
Yeah, like they say that we have more computing power in our iPhone than they did on the first.
Dressing up in an outfit and hooking up with people.
Yeah.
This is so fun. You're so excited about this, and I can tell you this. My husband came back from the last kind of physics conference where all the physicists go and talk, and he's like, "Oh wow, a lot of people are investing money in quantum physics, and it's not just governments and universities anymore. It's private equity people and
so like,
businesses."
Yeah.
So I think they feel like quantum is the next big thing, and they're all trying to get it faster.
Yeah.
Faster, stronger.
I mean, when they solve that, it's like, it's to the point where like if a quantum computer that has like just a few qubits, what it's called, they can literally take in all this information, and weather won't be predicted anymore. It'll be like, in August of 2024, on this day, this is exactly what it's going to be like.
Because they have all the
particles, all the variables, and able to keep up with it, and also have enough computing power to figure out all their trajectory. Like it's kind of like crazy. It is like,
that's very wild.
Yeah. So that's what your husband's
There's
doing.
gonna be no more mystery.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
You're like, I'm gonna go out. Like, am I gonna get laid tonight? Let me ask my AI.
You're like, come on, man, tell me how to do this.
It's like the magic ball, the magic black, like.
We don't think so.
Can't predict yet.
Yeah, you're like, can't predict, or are you just trying to let me down like easy?
Put on more cologne.
Put on more cologne.
Just take a shower.
I can't be doing all kinds of stuff like that.
Okay. We're at the point where I'm going to ask you, obviously, besides a science nerd, we're going to figure out exactly what kind of nerd you are, my sweet friend. And
he's just a nerd for pussy. That's it.
Yeah, dude. Where is it?
How funny would it be if my husband went and got a PhD just so he could hook up with me?
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'm sure that's your husband was just like this. Everybody's trying to fuck a physicist.
Yeah.
And you're doing this just to see if your husband listens to these. He's like,
he does. He does listen to. Yeah,
okay.
he's gonna hear your thing, and then he's gonna tell me all the science I just said wrong.
Me too.
I actually was thinking about it when you were talking.
He'll be like, well, this is what Gilbert said wrong. This is what you said wrong.
He's really sweet about it too. He's like, actually, babe, he doesn't want to deter me.
It's
from
a good try, but here's
exploring science.
Here's these 5 pages of proofs that show that you're wrong. I'm sorry. This is pillow talk.
Pillow talk. All right. Have you ever been to a Comic-Con?
No, I haven't,
Or
which is amazing.
Dragon Con?
I haven't.
What?
The whole time, every time I end up not going down there.
Do you get too hammered before you leave the house?
No, I just end up not. I don't know why, to be honest with you.
Do you have trouble leaving the house?
I do sometimes. Good point.
You were late for this.
Well, that's because I forgot. No, but I do sometimes. I just the hassle of certain things are exaggerated in my head, and then when I go do them, I'm like, oh, that was nothing.
Yeah, you just have ADHD.
Yeah. Is that what it is? Because sometimes I don't want to leave the house because I get a little social anxiety.
I do that too.
But
I do
so
have ADHD,
social.
where I'm just like, I am when I get there. Like people would never think that about me, that I'd be like sort of a shut-in in a lot of ways. Like after shows, I'm just like straight home and like
recharge your batteries at home.
Yeah, just like become like I don't know what it is.
A recluse?
A recluse, kind of. Yeah, I say that my wrestling name would be the brown recluse.
The brown
the spider
recluse. I know. Yeah, those are poisonous.
I know. Sometimes you got to treat them right.
Do you? Have you ever had a client get audited?
Oh, well, I mean.
Have you?
I've never been audited. I've never had a client be audited that I freelance. Did Joel ask you to ask this question?
No. It's like
I have a theory that if you don't have enough money, you're not going to get audited.
No, that's probably true.
That's
I mean,
and if you're working with comedians,
well,
then
yeah, so
no one has enough money to get
and
audited.
And most of I've done, like when I say audited, I mean my clients. I would say since I started working at a big firm, like those other ones, I audited them. So my definition that they got audited.
It wasn't the government; it was you. Were you going in to be like see if there's any shenanigans happening?
But basically, like also it's companies. Every company has to be audited. There's a certain size, especially public companies. They have to be audited by one of the big four, or like somebody that's
make sure they're not being squirrely with the muns.
Yeah, to put
Has
out
anyone audited Trump's stuff?
No, but they sort of have. They have lately. But
is it publicly owned or is it private?
It's private, but it's they're the. I forgot the name of the firm that did their accounting. They resigned themselves from relationship with him because he kept saying they're being audited by the IRS, which they were, but he kept saying so there's no way to show you the financials, which is not true. You can still show the financials.
Yeah.
But then they finally did. I don't know if it was like some kind of leak or whatever, but they showed like his tax returns in progress, and they were pretty jarring. The
amount of debt he was incurring.
The amount of debt, the sources of income. I mean, he made $9 million from the country of Turkey. Like during his, you're supposed to not, first of all, have compensation from your businesses at all, but especially not from foreign nationals, especially for ones that aren't our allies. So his
saying he did a bad job? That's surprising.
I know. And that's what drove me crazy when some of his MAGA people were like, I mean, he didn't need this job. He didn't need this money. It's like, you have no idea what on the brink of bankruptcy he's been on for a while. He doesn't have, I mean, look at his tax return. He has I don't know, less than $100 million in liquid assets and about $1 billion or like hundreds of millions coming due in certain loans. And you're like, this is his. This is not like somebody didn't just dig this up and forge it or whatever. So it's like, it's in
he's in a pickle. You would not get a clearance.
You leave my guy alone. He's coming back. He's coming back.
He's too vulnerable. Okay. All right, we're gonna find out what kind of nerd you are.
Okay.
All right, so have you ridden a unicycle?
I've tried.
You've tried? Oh my God, I think
so
you're
counts, I guess.
first. No, you're our second, unicycle. Have you ever played a woodwind instrument?
No.
Have you ever had a clip-on tie?
Yes.
Did you ever do a Death
terrible.
Star Lego?
No.
Do you have a soldering iron? Have you ever soldered?
No. I don't even know what that means.
Do you have a cape?
No.
Have you ever held a ferret?
Yes. These are funny questions.
Thank you. I'm glad you watch my show. They're the same every time.
I did, but I didn't get to the end because of my ADHD.
Fair enough. Tell the ferret story.
Tell the ferret story?
Yeah. Was it in rural Georgia where you grew up?
It was in college, and it was
Gilbert, get over here and hold my ferret, Lucille.
Get my ferret. His name is Ferret.
She's got real good kisses.
His name is Ferret the ferret. He was. It was actually his name was Phil, and he was in college, and at the fraternity house, this guy Josh had a ferret. And it was...
Of course it was a Josh.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess it was a white guy?
Yeah,
was he very thin?
Of course. No, he wasn't thin.
Oh, okay.
But it was
Did he have a cape?
No. But it's the worst. I never understood why it was a pet, because you would take it out and it would be in your hands, and then you put it down and it would just go hide. And he'd have to go catch it every time. It's like, is this a pet or just something that's your...
A wild animal that's trapped
you're holding it hostage.
Did it bite you? And you would...
No, it didn't. But I remember it did bite a few people.
Wow.
Great pet.
You had cool energy.
Yeah,
this guy was like, this guy's going to be a consultant.
Dude, you're going to end up like me somewhere, hiding in a corner, waiting for somebody to come get you.
Yeah, then you bite us.
Yeah.
Did you get into Harry Potter, or was
I didn't.
I think you and I are closer in age. Like my children got into Harry Potter.
Yeah, no, I never got into. Although I've seen one of the movies, and it was good, but I just never.
My husband read all the books to us, and he did all the voices, and it was
really
it was the most magical part of my life. Yeah, it was wonderful.
No, I've heard that they're amazing. I just never.
Do you have a coin collection?
No.
Have you ever held a sword?
I have. Ooh. I have a sword.
What's your sword?
It's a sword. It's like
cutting red tape.
Yeah,
Are you running for office?
It's part of my scissor sword collection for opening up
banks,
various businesses at the Chamber of Commerce.
It's for opening up festivals.
It's an old sword. It was my dad's sword that some Saudi Arabian prince gave him.
No
it's
way.
crazy. It has it's metal, silver, and you pull it out. It's like it's got a sheath. It's really old. I mean, it's probably like 200 years old.
Okay, Saudi Arabian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fancy guy gave your dad. So is your dad a fancy guy?
He was, yeah. He passed away when I was 12. But he was a sort of an engineer, and in between Iraq and Georgia, we lived in Saudi Arabia. Super progressive Saudi Arabia.
Are you being sarcastic? Because I know Iran used to be.
Oh no, it's the worst. Saudi Arabia is the worst country in the world. It's very sarcastic.
They were used to be the most amount of educated women there before.
Yeah. They were very westernized. I mean, I think they love people here, but they hate our government. But yeah, so he gave him that. He gave him this rifle that's like this old musket kind of thing, and then on the side it had notches for people that he killed.
Oh my god!
And it's from the late maybe 1800s or early 1900s.
1800s.
Yeah, and so the sword is it's probably not even sharp, but it's got a sheath in it. It makes that sound when you open it, whoosh, and then you can't even cut butter. But it's
And then your dad was Catholic.
Yeah.
Was he Catholic when he was in Saudi Arabia?
Mm-hmm.
And then was the head of the Saudi Arabian, were all the elites Catholic there?
No, none of them were. Ironically, Iraq was very was more prone, more conducive or more open to other religions besides Islam, and their prime minister Tariq Aziz was Christian, but in Saudi Arabia it's very hard nosed, very. And the reason he worked there and still was Catholic, it was in Riyadh, and he worked in this camp that had people from all over the world, like engineers and whatever. My kindergarten teacher spoke 6 languages. It was for people all over. So they kind of had to be open to their expats, practicing religion if they want to. But I have memories of I have this one memory that I added context to as I got older. It was when I was 5 or 6, and we were in this shopping area, this outdoor whatever, with my mom, and this old man looked like Gandalf, if you want to use a whatever sci-fi reference. He was walking around following us, yelling at my mom really loudly and aggressively. And then as I got older, I was oh, that was because she was not with a man. It was just me and her.
Oh,
so
she shouldn't be walking to her out.
So he was accosting her around every block, and I remember getting more scared. And then she's yeah, he's just this guy, some crazy word. She didn't have time to tell me as a 5-year-old about the nuances of religion. Yeah. So it's not a very open country at all.
Well, not now. Yeah. Or I don't even know the history.
No, it never has been. It's owned by one
Is Ken
family.
Burns going to make a documentary? I'll watch it.
That would be a very.
I can't be bothered to learn about brown people until Ken Burns talks.
Give
about
it to me in 1 hour with Peter Coyote.
Can I watch some
narrating.
TikToks? I just need some TikToks real quick.
That Peter Coyote's voice is just like so great. Like I used to think Ken Burns was that guy.
Oh, is it a different guy?
Yeah, it's a guy named Peter Coyote.
Okay.
He's their narrator. His voice is just like so perfect for those.
Is that did he do the Civil War one?
I think so.
We had that on VHS tape over at the Gibbs house where I grew up. It was like 9 VHS tapes.
Yeah, he like does exhaustive research on all that stuff.
Yeah. Okay. That's fascinating. I would imagine as a Catholic, that's one of the reasons you had to get out. Your family had to leave.
Yeah, I mean,
and an intellectual. Are they against intellectuals too?
Yeah, they are. I mean, it's funny to be anti-intellectual, but then they're like also investing in certain technologies that makes their life better. I mean, at the very bottom, like at the very base level, it's like you had to invest all this technology into refining oil. You didn't know how to do it, but you're like, yeah, we'll do a pass for this one, and then slowly people start adopting these technologies, and they kind of have like more pushback on it. But yeah, they're anti sort of education, especially for women. But it's owned by one family. That's like when people want to
the whole country's owned by one family. Is it?
Yeah, the Saud family. They're like real pieces of shit.
I think I knew that. I feel dumb for it. I think I knew that. Yeah. And then there's like, do they have health care for everybody though? Like they're such a rich country, but
I'm not sure. I don't know that actually. I think they do. But there is a very much have not there still. Like the people that are in the royal family or adjacent have money, and then they have like a whole class of people that are just
is
like
that the
anywhere
family
else.
where they keep killing each other.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, it's
the real Succession.
Yeah, and then this guy is at the top of it now. MBS. His name, but they have like really brutal things. Like they do beheadings there. Like,
oh my god!
And they like in the past couple of years they've had an average of like 160 beheadings per year.
Oh wow!
So that's about like about one out of every other day, which sounds crazy, but they do it in one place in Riyadh. There's an area.
Have you been to it? Do you have a memory? Okay.
But they have like an area where it has like a drainage for the blood and everything, and they do it twice a year. So they'll have like 80 or 90 beheadings 2 different times a year. And I don't know what people like, why they have to be public, or people go like tailgate. They're like, are you going to that beheading tomorrow? Oh, you sure?
This is very Game of Thrones.
I know. I don't know what that's supposed to do besides be just brutal, like they did with Jamal Khashoggi, that reporter. Did they like dismember? Like they could have just killed him, but they're like, nah, we're going to like sort of prove a point that we are above any kind of international law.
Oh my gosh. Okay, but you're friendly.
But they're an ally. Yeah.
Except for growing up in real Georgia.
Yeah, I went from one type of closed-mindedness to a different kind. I remember in first grade, like first day of class, we were like Pledge of Allegiance, and I was thinking, didn't I just come from a place where we were like having I'm 6, I'm pledging allegiance to, it's such a weird custom.
Yeah, right. Humanity's wild.
It is wild.
The more you learn, and especially history, and in your case, present day, is so wild what humans do to each other.
I know it's a flaw in our DNA.
That's what I was thinking about when I turned off the ghost hunter thing this morning. I'm like, Amy, stop putting ghosts in your head in the morning. I'm like, oh yeah. I turned on the news and it was like murder. I'm like, oh yeah, real people are more dangerous than ghosts.
It's definitely a flaw because like no civilization that has rose to power has ever been nice, ever. Nobody with any power and a massive group of human beings in the history of our species has ever been nice.
To get their power.
They get there and they're like, number one priority, keep this power, maybe gain more, but that is, everything else falls by the wayside. Like, it's just weird.
Okay, well, this is my next question then. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Oh, Star Wars, definitely.
Okay, and why?
I don't know, I was hooked from like, the first one, the heroes, what did you call it? The heroes mission? What's that guy's name? I can't think.
Anakin?
The hero's journey?
Yeah.
What's the writer's name?
I forget what you're talking about.
And then Google it?
The hero, it's, damn it. The guy who, well, he'll find it. It's how they made, the whole
Oh, they're like it's like there's
Joseph Campbell.
Joseph Campbell.
There's like a good person. They're actually bad.
Yeah, and they
this,
have
like the
this,
same story has basically been rewritten all over.
It's been rewritten, but like they use that for like the first Star Wars, which I know is like, you know, now they have prequels, but it's done so well. Besides the science sci-fi part of it, like I was all in with like Luke Skywalker and like, you know,
and you watch
dad.
all the new ones.
I watched some of the new ones. I keep getting disappointed when I watch them because I don't know why. I keep thinking like
it's weird.
Is it?
They're kind of weird.
Are they universally liked or are they?
There's mixed bag. I mean, a lot of it is them just being like, did you watch these other shows? Well, now because you watch these other ones, this pays off. Like, as the newest one, Ahsoka, that's came out. You have to see in like all of the Clone Wars cartoon and the Rebels cartoon.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And there's like, and
Who's
so
got time for that?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, if you haven't watched everything, all the stuff is being made for like you have to consume all of our content, and if you don't, you're gonna fall behind because we're not gonna hold your hand. So
I know.
So most people are just like, well, I'm just not gonna watch it.
Yeah, like, fine, we don't need you. It's like an elitist way. And to be honest, I never really watched Star Trek, so I think that like once I glam onto something, I'm just like, nah, I've got it.
Well, I feel like people who like Star Trek feel like humans do have a chance to make society work.
Oh,
and then people who watch Star Wars, no, it's just a crapshoot, and y'all just have to keep hopefully fighting for good.
Yeah, it's like it has a lot of parallels with our world, like, you know, with like the rebels and like the Death Star, the Empire. It's like, is that us? Is that America?
Yeah, we're the Empire, and then the rebels were the Vietnamese.
Yeah,
or that got
or
dark,
insert whatever.
But no, but that is originally when George Lucas wrote it. It was an allegory of the America.
I just got goosebumps.
Yeah,
America I didn't know
were the Empire, and the Vietnam was the rebels, and it's just being like, we know what's best for you.
Yeah, it's very easy once you know that. I didn't know it was Vietnamese specifically, but I believe you.
But also, you can self-insert.
But it's very easy to see the parallels when you watch it. You're like, it's the same kind of language, but presented from the other standpoint, where you're like, just join us. What's your problem? It's like, you know, it's very much, you know, an imperial force that's trying to, you know, acquire all of civilization.
But don't read into any of it. Yeah. We don't want Star Wars to get woke now. It never was before.
God, I hate how that word is a negative word. People use now.
I feel like, though, in America, we're allowed to be so much more vocally open about our actual true feelings than you actually can in the Star Wars world.
Yeah, you can, but also there's that growing side where they're like quickly, you know, vilify somebody being anti-American. If you don't like it, here goes, you know, that kind of.
I think someone who says that has never been in a marriage where if you're still fighting, it means you're still in it.
Yeah,
and when you stop fighting, it means you're ready to leave.
Right. The
so
opposite
if
of love
someone's
is
fighting
apathy.
and they're saying something critical, it's because they care.
Yeah.
They care.
That's
still.
true. When somebody's like, whatever, you're like, oh, they don't care at all anymore.
I'm moving to Canada. Canada doesn't want you. Uh-oh. Okay. Have you ever LARPed or cosplayed?
I haven't.
Okay.
I feel bad saying that.
That's okay.
I don't know why.
We used to like you. What's the longest you've done, like doing a sit-down video game, board game, like, or like playing a video game?
Oh man, I would. This is way.
Doing coke with consultants counts.
That's a game that never ends. This is gonna go way back, but it was like when I was like 10 or 11, and I first got Nintendo, and I sat down and played Zelda until it was the whole world over, and it was probably like.
Oh, wow.
I mean, literally all day. But it was like 14, 16 hours.
So it's a condition, you were like hyper focused.
Oh, yeah.
So that's like an ADD thing, right? ADHD?
Yeah, it's for sure.
The hyper focus. So you did 14 hours.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, I would say probably 10 to 12 hours, but I would say that I was on multiple days because it took longer than that to
okay, it was stretched over time.
To save Zelda. So
to save Zelda. Did you, because I feel like you're very intelligent. But you said you struggled through business school. Is it like when you're focused on something, you can do it very well, and then if you're not focused, it's hard to get yourself to do it?
No, it's more like business school. I think is not for people like me who already had a business background, like who already had accounting and finance. Like those are there's other skills they teach you, marketing and operations, but the main thing is to teach non-business people that have a desire to move into business related fields, whether it's like, management or like venture capital, whatever. And so the classes I took were easy mostly. And the reason I didn't do it was because I was partying all the time.
You're partying all the time. That's what business school's for.
Yeah, but I took it to a different level.
Oh, did you go full balls to the wall?
It was nuts. It was
full
crazy.
Galaxy.
Yeah,
full quantum.
I partied with this friend of mine he's one of my closest friends now, but he was a chemist before that, and he's like the smartest person I've ever met. He's a hedge fund trader now, and he lives in Boulder. But we went out like and did drugs all the time, like all the time.
What kind of drugs?
Ecstasy.
Oh,
mainly. It was like there was a time in Atlanta where a lot of younger people won't know what I'm talking about, but like in the 2000s, late 90s and 2000s. Through like maybe 2006 or
Gay Bob probably knows.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, Gay Bob knows. I've talked to Gay Bob about it. Anybody that's gay that's that age knows exactly what I'm talking about. A place called Backstreet in Atlanta. That's a place that was in Midtown that opened in 1976 and did not close for 1 minute until 2005. Opened 24 hours, 3-story club.
Whoa.
That was like. My theory is part of the reason why so many gay people moved here. The funnest place to hang out by far. I don't even know what's in second place in my world, but it was like you'd go there on Saturday night at like 4 a.m. when everything else closed. There'd be a line going down the street, and then you'd go in, and then you would like go to my strategy. I would meet like 18 degenerate friends of mine. We'd be upstairs. They'd each give me $20. I'd go downstairs. I'd find a guy named Heavy. I'd be like, Heavy, I need 18 hits of ecstasy. What you got today? He's like, double stack Mitsubishis. These are going to be great. I'd take him up there, and then we would have a ball till like 9, 10 in the morning.
Oh my God, full through the night.
And it was just like, that's when I discovered how cool gay people are. I was just like, oh my God, this is fucking amazing.
They love partying.
Oh man, they love partying. And they're so fun. The music, it was just like, so I don't know how I got
Were you dancing?
Yeah. So I had my shirt on the whole time though.
You're dancing with your shirt off. I guess that's like one way to do it. Do you know all the words to a musical?
No.
Okay. Have you read Ready Player One or watched the movie?
No.
Have you ever scuba dived?
No.
Do you have a pilot's license?
No.
Do you have a perfect attendance award?
No. Definitely not.
Do you like school supplies?
Yes. Love them.
Okay.
Love them.
Yeah. Okay. This is tracking.
In my purse. Some people call it a merce, and I'm like, there's nothing manly about this purse. It's my purse.
I like your purse.
Yeah,
I saw it on the chair the other day, and I was like, oh my God, Amanda's purse is so cute.
People would always make fun of me about that, like, especially in New York when I lived there. They'd be like, oh, look at that. And then 2 minutes later, they'd be like, do you have a charger? Do you have a pen? I'm like, I have all of those things.
Yeah.
You know why? Because I have a purse.
Yeah.
So I love notebooks. I love the G2 pen, 0.7. I used to be on 1.0, but 0.7 is... exactly.
This is my pen.
Yep, I love those. What number is that?
It's 10 because
one. The reason 10 doesn't work for me as well is because it writes so well that I end up drawing and doodling with it so much.
You need the smaller one.
Yeah, the smaller one is
the
harder.
The smaller one makes me feel like I'm cutting my card.
Yeah, it does that too. But I love this. Like, I will like leave a show, and if I have like a lot of time for it, like I'm going up. And go to a drugstore and get that pen if I haven't brought it. I don't know why I'm so
They sell out.
Yeah, they do.
They sell out. Every time I see them in the drugstore, I buy all of them.
They're the best.
They're the best. Do you have a pair of fairy wings?
No.
You had a medical emergency one time.
Oh, I've had several.
Okay.
Not to brag.
Have you ever died and come back? Have you seen God? What did he say?
I would say I've seen God, but it wasn't from dying. It was probably some really strong mushrooms. But but no, I haven't officially died. I came close.
Did you? Okay. Mm-hmm. So
heart attack.
Heart attack. Mm-hmm. That's rough.
And then also another time.
Oh, what happened the other time?
The other time is sort of inexplicable a little bit. Like it was I was in Columbia, South Carolina doing shows at this like hotel, and then after the second show that night I started coughing really bad, and then throughout the night I got sicker and sicker to like when I was cold sweats and like to the point where like I woke up the next morning at like 10 or 11 and I was just like so sick and I didn't have any energy to go anywhere, so I like asked the house the people to like let me sleep a little bit longer, and then at 1 p.m. I started driving toward Atlanta, and I could not stay awake. I was like I was yelling. I had to pull over.
Oh my God!
And it took me like 5 hours to get to. I don't know why I didn't pull over and go to the hospital, but I got there and I was like just about to collapse, and they took me to the hospital, and they said like your oxygen rate when you breathe is supposed to be like, the lowest, like 92.
We learned this from the coronavirus. We all had to get those little monitors for our fingers.
Mine was like at the level
you
where
weren't getting enough oxygen.
Yeah, so it took them like 2 days to stabilize my breathing. And they said it was just some sort of strain of something, but like I couldn't breathe and could not. It was the most miserable drive. I just like would drive like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and then I'd pull over and like sleep for like 20 minutes, and then just wake up and be like, and it was just could not get any energy because I could not breathe.
This is what they say people happens to them when they're getting ready to die.
Yeah, I think I was pretty close to it.
What happened?
I don't know.
Do you think it was a bad spirit?
Maybe.
Did you were you staying in a bed and breakfast that was from the 1800s?
It was a bed and breakfast, actually.
Do you think it was haunted? Did you hear any?
Maybe the ghost didn't like my set.
Did you have any squeaky floorboards?
I was very pro living in my set.
Oh, yeah, right in their face.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, sucks to be dead, and then they're like, yeah, you're about to be tomorrow.
Oh my goodness, a bad energy. Well, I don't think that's true, but
maybe.
I was like, do you think it would come back? Did they do any tests? Do you have like a syndrome?
I don't have a syndrome.
You went to the hospital and you didn't come out with a syndrome?
No.
You need to get your money back.
It's weird because they were so like, I don't know, so uncertain of like, the cause. They were like, it's probably some kind of virus or something. But like I had some reaction to something. But I was there for 4 days. I'm like, you would think you'd have more of a definitive, cause of this or something, Yeah.
Right.
But I think they were just like, it sounded something like it would be like coronavirus, because if we didn't know about it and somebody just went to the hospital and not being able to breathe, it would be sort of inexplicable. They would just be trying to. They
didn't put you on a ventilater. Did they?
They did.
Oh, did they? They put you on a ventilator. They knocked you out and put you on a ventilator.
Yeah, when I
or they
first
just give you
got there,
oxygen and a mask.
Yeah, No, it was just oxygen and a mask.
Yeah, because a ventilator, you're knocked out. You breathe.
Yeah, and it actually does your
breathing for you, and then you like lose the ability to use part of your body and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that. It was a mask with oxygen, and it took a while
to just catch your breath, literally.
Yeah.
Golly. Okay. Have you ever written fan fiction?
No.
Have you ever said, this is not canon?
No. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I know, right? It's what nerds say. Have you ever had a birthday party for a pet?
No.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming. Do you have a tattoo?
No.
Are you into bird watching?
I am a little bit. I have an app now that it's that you can like, it's like a Shazam for bird.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
My husband and I are doing it.
Really?
So is Carlette.
Really?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
You hit a certain age and you turn into a bird person.
I know. So many people I know are turning into bird watchers.
Yes. Yeah, it's part of the aging process. And
I guess so.
This is why people start playing golf when they get older, because that's where the birds are.
You can do two things at once.
You drive people.
You can kill two
birds.
Occupations at once.
two birds with one golf ball.
2 interests with one golf ball.
The 2 interests. Do you like Jeopardy?
Love it.
Yes. Okay. I know who. Okay. I'm going to stop asking questions now because I know what kind of a nerd you are.
Oh, you do?
You are an intellectual nerd with a side of drug coolness.
With a side of it.
Yes. And this is what they say, like the accountants that do the sexy accounting. Yes. Total nerd energy, strong academic brains, and still fun at a party. Let's go.
If I can get to the party. If I could get myself to the party.
If you can get yourself to the party, you're fun at the party. Did you have to do the thing where like you walk into the restaurant and like you hand over the credit card to the wait staff, like, this is on me, don't let anyone else pay for it?
I've done, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Where I don't have to have that last
the fight
interaction. The no, it's just like I'll do it and be like, okay, it's great to see y'all. And then, it's not quite an Irish goodbye. It's an Iraqi goodbye, I guess. But I'm like, I say goodbye, but I'm like.
You take your sword and run?
Yeah, I take my sword and
I'm out of here. You take your burqa?
I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm out of here.
You take
out your sword.
your
boys. And
then, cut off the burqas are all around you. And then
I love that move, though, because it is a conversation that everybody has that no one wants to have, where you're like, look, you could just let me pick the check up. Or somebody could, but like we all have to have this pushback because otherwise it seems rude. Right?
Yeah, and it's already taken care of. Let's go.
It's been a while since I've done that.
And then you say you can buy me
since I've had money.
I know, right? An expense account. You can buy me a drink at the next place, and then you go to the hotel and you go to bed, and then it's all good.
Exactly.
So, do you have any crazy stories from your because like the whining and dining can get pretty wild? Have you any wild stories from that?
Not really. I mean, yeah, I've had a couple, I guess. Well, when they're not really funny though. When I was one of my projects was in Denver, and it was right when I was starting comedy. So I would have these 2 lives where I would like do the work and then every now and then like take people to dinner and then I would go hit a show or open mic. And I remember one night it was I left and like went to dinner, took these people out. We got pretty drunk and then I drove to a show and then came out. And my car was towed. And so I had to go get my car out in the middle of the night. And then...
Did you have a presentation the next morning?
I did, but I had cocaine. So I was
mommy's helper.
Which is not a good thing. You think you're awake at least, but you're not really full in.
You're not really there.
Yeah, they don't think you're on cocaine. They just think you're on something. I mean, I'm just like, here's a 5-minute presentation in 30 seconds. And scene. I'm out of here. Bye, I got to catch a flight. Why is my nose bleeding? Who cares?
I've never done cocaine.
It's terrible. I don't like it. I really haven't done it in a long time.
I have had so much coffee that I feel like I'm having a heart attack.
It's probably like that.
Yeah.
It's a drug that like it's terrible in all forms, in all facets. It's like, I mean, I used to love doing it, but when you do it, the beginning of it, the first line, is the best it's going to be, and then you're chasing that.
You're chasing that high. It's the same thing with potato chips. It's the same thing with potato chips.
It is.
The first potato chip's the best.
But my brain doesn't like it. I haven't done it in years. Like the last time I even did it was like my brain goes, oh, I know where this is going. So it automatically goes there to that feeling of nauseousness and like uneasiness. It's like, we're done with this. So it's good. Which is good. It never was good for anything.
That's
of draining your bank account and making your penis go into your intestines like a scared little brown turtle. Really anti everything you're excited about.
Yeah.
Money and women. You're like, oh, neither one of those are going to happen tonight. But you can have an awkward conversation in the bathroom with some Nazi because he's the only one carrying any cocaine anymore. And you're going to talk to him like he's a normal person until it's empty. And then you're going to leave hating yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, or something like that. I don't know. Not being specific.
Not specific.
This isn't from personal experience.
Yeah.
Not at all.
White power. That's my version of a Nazi cokehead. White powder.
Ayo. That's good. All right, tell people where they can find you.
You can find me in Amy's back house and squatting in the next couple weeks till she finds out that I'm hiding it back there.
I was going to say, if you're not in a bathroom doing cocaine with a neo-Nazi.
You can find me on Instagram at Gilbert Lawand. Very, very unique and clever, creative name I have there.
Lawand, Lawand.
Yeah. That's mainly. You can also check out pretty soon redclaycomedy.com. So comedy festival I produce. We're about to open submissions. We moved the date from, we used to do it in the fall in October. We're moving it to May, and it's going to be exciting and fun. So you can check that out in the next couple weeks. As soon as we get our shit together and open up submissions, we have.
That sounds fun.
Yeah,
I love a comedy festival. That's a great festival. It's
Thank
super
you.
fun. All right. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me. It was so fun.